Surprise! This is not Chief Meteorologist John Gum if you're seeing that on some of the pages here. I am Meteorologist Tera Blake. I cannot get that to change. I don't know what I'm doing, and I had like a system shut down there for a second. I'd rather it happen today instead of this weekend, as we are looking at a major winter storm that is going to be hitting the tri-state. So this is Thursday morning. We're now at about 10:08. So good morning to you. I think today would be a good day for venturing out to the grocery store, especially if the weekend is when you typically like to make your way to the grocery store. Over the weekend, I would not suggest doing so, as snow will be taking over in the afternoon hours and getting heavy Saturday night into Sunday. But I'm getting a little ahead of myself. I do want to dive into what's going on before we get there and what's happening, what's the latest, what we're expecting, so that you are prepped and ready before we find some pretty impressive snow. There's a lot of things going into this. A big part is that we've got a ton of moisture being fueled from the jet stream, and this Gulf moisture is being funneled in on top of this Arctic air. And so we've got a very big chance of seeing some impressive snow. Let me find the right picture here. It's been a minute. I haven't done this since our last big snow. Right now you can see in Falmouth it is sunny. We are beautifully sunny in quite a few spots. But we will see colder temperatures sinking in, as you can see from this graphic. So 36 for a high today. It's going to feel like the 20s. I hope everybody is seeing me at this point. I probably should check in with that. If you are, say hi. Let me know where you are. And I'll try and take a look at if there's any questions before I get off as well. But today, partly cloudy, mostly cloudy, breezy. It's going to make it feel colder. But tomorrow is when we get our third cold front, and we go from 27 at midnight to our warmest temperature of the afternoon of 18. So we are going to fall throughout the day. It is going to be brutal. And that is just the beginning of the Arctic air for us here in and around home. A good amount of cloud cover, breezy for tomorrow is going to make it feel very cold. So what's interesting about the cold is there are rumors circulating that we could see extreme amounts. And part of that is because when you have very cold air, the ratio changes. So traditionally we are at about a 10-to-1. So 10 inches of snow, 1 inch of precipitation. So when you take a look at our numbers for the year, you are seeing a good bit of snow, but very little precipitation for the year. That's that difference. Again, 10 inches of snow to 1 inch of rain. Well, when we have this kind of cold, it moves us into the category of 20-to-1. So that is 20 inches of snow to 1 inch of rain, which means our totals can be a lot bigger. We have a lot of the components needed. The only worry at this point is the track changes drastically, which is going to fluctuate that heaviest snow line. Or could we get a pocket of warm, which could bring in sleet, which absolutely happens to us. We've had that happen before. I remember staying at a hotel and everything started to transfer over to sleet, and we had talked about it and we were spot on. But it is a very fine line, like literally within the atmosphere. If you're taking a slice of the atmosphere and it's cold here and you just get this little pocket of warm and we get sleet. And so that would drastically cut the amount of snow that we would see here in and around home. But it looks right now that this is absolutely going to be more of a major snow event unless we get new information in today. And then we will obviously update you on those potential totals. But it's still getting organized. It's still getting organized west of home, west of the United States, and making its way towards us. And so time frame is Saturday to Sunday. But Saturday, it's developing. And look at that temperature, 16. Just not so fun. So let me progress throughout my graphics. I want to show you we're not the only ones impacted. Look how many states are within this line. That's 20 plus states being impacted by the same system. Weather is amazing. And winter systems, especially when they're south, when they miss places like Wisconsin and Chicago and Minnesota, you're like, what is going on? Well, it's this southern track that is bringing in those higher totals, and ice is going to be a major concern for many. That is very, very troubling for places that are going to be cold for an extended period of time. Thankfully, the ice is more hitting places that can warm up relatively fast behind it, but that is really scary stuff when you have thick ice like that. And so that'll be affecting southern locations, but then it's quickly into the heavy rain or heavy snow instead of the heavy rain. For us, we do have a winter storm watch. This is different from last night with Chief Meteorologist John Gumb. He just had a portion of the tri-state under a winter storm watch. It's now the entire tri-state. The way it's looking now, we will move into the warning category as we get closer. That'll change from the National Weather Service, but it's a watch right now because we're still watching. There's still a lot that can happen before it gets anywhere close to us. So again, still in that watch category, but Saturday morning until very late Sunday night, really Monday morning, that will end. Modeling has adjusted a little bit, definitely showing more snow potential. First model of seeing very little, no, that's not going to happen. Second model, where it's taken some of the higher amounts to us, this is starting to be the trend, where we are looking at higher amounts. There are indications online that I've seen from online meteorologists and real legit locations that are saying 18 to 24 and just astronomical numbers. I think that is insane to say, especially this far out. But models are really pushing us at that 10 to 12 mark in isolated spots, which would be huge for the tri-state. But that would be isolated. 6 to 10, definitely a possibility. Less to the north and west, maybe your 4 to 6. Farther south would be those bigger numbers as of now. That heavy swath for the Model 3, that puts the absolute heaviest on us. Right now, I don't see that confirmation, but that line is close. It is currently staying to the south of us rather than on top of us, with more so our forecast. So let me show you timing, especially if you've got weekend plans. So we start out Saturday morning just fine. By about 4 or 5 o'clock, we're starting to see the snow. Remember, the colors are important. The bright white is very light. Problem is, our roads are already cold. And so there is the potential that we could quickly get slick on any untreated roads. So being home by the evening, probably our best idea. Unless snow doesn't bother you and you're thinking you're going to be fine for the beginning of this event. By late in the evening, it starts to get heavy. And no matter what, you need to get off the roads, let the crews work, and make sure that it's safe for those who have to be out. So you can see the darker purple starts increasing by about 8, 9 o'clock, widespread. Watch the darkest purple, though. That's hitting overnight, Sunday, early Sunday, into Sunday morning. Noting the darkest purple, that's that heavier swath, is just outside of the ice line, that pink line. That's the freezing rain line. So that is where the heaviest is going to lie, and it's just outside of us. So that's where we want to see that. We do not want to see that here at home, but it is definitely going to be a mess heading south. We keep some of the heavier snow showers. We're talking 1 inch per hour potential, maybe even more than that, especially if we're trying to get to some of those higher totals. But this continues into the afternoon, but it starts lightening up. Kids are going to have fun with this one. Plenty to sled through. It is going to be very dry and fun in the yard if you are very bundled up. Remember, we have teens and 20s feeling even colder with some wind. So it is going to be really, really cold. Mother Nature is not going to help melt away any of the snow either. But it does start winding down. You can really see it lightening up here by about 7 o'clock. And then I think we're dry into that Monday time frame, other than maybe some flurries if it just decides to stick around, which sometimes happens behind these systems. But we are going to be in major cleanup because it doesn't stop until late on Sunday. And so secondary roads are not going to be touched when you're trying to keep up with major roads seeing heavy snow. So staying off the roads on Sunday is a good idea. And potential impacts for schools on Monday, yes, especially with those temperatures. Again, Mother Nature is not helping us lose this snow. So if you love snow, this is your forecast for sure. We have 5 to start, 17 for a high on Monday. We do have 20 starting on Tuesday, but we should be at 40 this time of the year. And just a few weeks ago, we were nearly 70. So this is a drastic difference from what we had a few weeks ago, but we knew that was too good to be true. So let me see if I have any questions. Again, I am not Chief Meteorologist John Gum. I'm not seeing any questions. Okay, well, that works unless my phone isn't updating. I think the biggest thing for sitting in Shelby, Ohio, currently live in Harrison. All right, hi Ron. Thanks for joining. Is it spring yet? I wish. John actually heard about the hurricane hunters being out there, but I have not seen any of that information. I actually looked for it this morning. Thanks for hanging out, Ashley and Vivi. I would suggest having salt. I would suggest having a shovel. If you're one of those, like for me, potentially I'll be in this weekend. I'm not for sure. I know John's going to be in Saturday night. Typically on these type of events, we are brought in for just extra hands, but not always, especially for a weekend. But you have to have salt if you have to leave. Nurses, doctors, firefighters, CMT, anyone that works and helps out people, paramedics is what I was trying to say. You got to make sure that you can get out of your driveway and you can get into to the place that really needs you. And so shovels and salts, we have a snowblower from when I lived in Cleveland, so we are ready with that. I would love to keep the heaviest amount south. And actually, are we going to get rain? We don't want rain because it would be freezing rain. We are so cold. It would be a nightmare if we get rain. So we only want snow. Sean, we only want snow. All right. I think that is it. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. This is the big event. It could be the biggest of the winter. Definitely showing signs of trying to make its mark, as we are extremely cold and big snow totals are a possibility. Again, still estimates because we are still too far out. The track is not figured out as of now. And if it adjusts greatly, our numbers will absolutely adjust. But I would say northern locations, you're going to get less, but some of us south could see 6 to 10, upwards of a foot, which would be a whole lot of snow. But we have had isolated amounts as high as 8 inches this winter so far. So this has been a winter to remember. And we're just getting ready for the next round. It's not even February yet. But then we'll get to warm up and hopefully see a little bit of spring. But again, winter storm watch that starts in the morning hours on Saturday, goes until Sunday very late, but is most likely going to switch over to an advisory for some and a warning for a lot. And we'll keep you updated on that. You can bet that your Weather Authority team will be updating you this afternoon, this evening, giving you the latest information. And remember the app, our Weather Authority app. It's free. It's awesome. I am constantly trying to make sure that that's updated. Everyone here in this office is doing the same. It's not done by a computer. It's not estimates. It's real calculated data that we're putting in there. So have that so we can send you alerts and keep you updated. I personally love it because it'll say 20 minutes out. If I'm busy, it's on the weekend and I'm not paying attention to every second of weather, as I have to do during the week, I just love it because it gives me an alert 20 minutes out. You've got heavy snow headed your way. Thank you. That's really important to know. I got to get all the toys from the backyard back into the garage, things like that. So we appreciate you trusting us and joining us, and we will see you again soon.